G'day, ZiggyD here, and right off the back of patch 0.10.5, the developers have already announced a new skill gem coming in patch 0.10.6 for Path of Exile. So Chris Wilson today just made a post just hinting at this new skill called Searing Bond, and as a very basic description, we don't have too much information, but they also released this teaser trailer here. So I just wanted to make this video to show you guys the new skill, the little teaser of the skill, and to maybe do a little bit of theory crafting about it as well. So it's a strength intelligence gem, and we know that it's a totem. We know that you can have two, and that if you have a second one, not only will the Searing Bond link between you and the totem and you and the second totem, but it'll also link between the two totems as well. So with the dual totem build, you'll have a little triangle of fire, and basically anything in this line of fire will take damage. So it's very much like Chains of Torment from Diablo 3, and many other skills in many RPG games have used this similar sort of mechanic. So as a single totem user, this skill's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I don't know how useful it's going to be, because I don't think something like this could ever be as efficient, or I don't think it's going to end up being one of those super efficient skills. Like, it's not going to be like a spork totem where you can clear maps quickly with it and easily and safely, but it has a lot of potential to be fun. So you could, you have to be pretty mobile. You have to be constantly trying to position the totems and yourself correctly to maximize your damage, and maybe it will do a lot of damage on that little line since it is hard to position, but interesting. So in this image here, we can see, that these guys are sort of chasing us, and the tether seems quite long range. I don't know how much further beyond this, but we at least know that it goes this far. So that's not too bad. I kind of expect that it disconnects beyond a certain point, though, a lot like what these skills usually tend to do. So that means it kind of works well with something that is moving around and kiting. So this character here is actually using ethereal knives, and I thought that would be a good setup for it. Basically, you cast your totem on one side of the pack, and then you stand and sort of move around on the other side of the pack, sort of slightly kiting, casting ethereal knives so stutter stepping with ethereal knives, and getting that constant damage increase from the Searing Bond. So pretty interesting. Now, what happens when you throw in that second totem to the mix, obviously? You can't deal damage yourself. You'll be focusing on cursing or using some of a utility skill, or you'll just be focusing on running around. But forgive my very bad photoshopping skills here, but let's add in a few more enemies here. That is hilarious. So we have this this extra large pack now, and we are a dual totem user. So let's go ahead and we'll get my little brush out here. I don't really want to use a star. Let's just use a normal brush, please. Okay, so let's say we have this pack to deal with now. We've cast our first totem, it's there, and we're standing here. Now, you're going to have a triangle shape. That means you're going to have this line going between the totem and you going here. So let's say we put our totem here. That's our totem. Pretty beautiful stuff there. And let's go ahead and we'll grab some of the color from this fella here. And then we can make our Searing Bond go from this totem. So it goes from the middle of the totem. So we'll make it go across there. And then it also connects to us. So we have this triangle. Now, the most effective triangle in terms of DPS and dealing damage with this setup is to have a very shallow triangle, so that as many of these sides are hitting the mobs as possible. So if you're standing like here, any mobs in this area here are going to get hit. You're going to be hitting the maximum possible. If you make this triangle even more shallow, the lines are going to do something like this. And then you'll be hitting, you potentially be hitting, say a mob standing here, you'll potentially be hitting them with two Searing Bonds. So that'll be interesting to see. But that's kind of the strategy I would employ, is making as shallow triangles as possible. Of course, if you instead, let's go ahead and remove this. Let's say instead I have to make a new layer, unfortunately. A little bit awkward. There we go. Let's say instead we cast our totem here. We have another version of a shallow triangle here. So then we get our Searing Bond here, and we get this one here. But we're kind of wasting this side, but we can double up with these here, and that might be a bit easier to manage. Anyway, as I said, a very interesting skill. I think it'll be fun to play with, and maybe fun to make a dual totem fire based Templar to play around with that, or maybe just a single one and see how it works out. Hopefully the DPS on it is insane, because it seems like it would be a difficult skill to use. Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little theory crafting and teaser session. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.